Hello, my name is Kaden, and today I'm going to be sharing some hard things I learned throughout my life, so maybe you don't have to learn them the hard way too. Anxiety can and will control your life if you let it. If you do not find a way to manage your anxiety, it will control your life if you let it. Never try to control someone. Never. And never let someone try to control you. I know that a lot of people with anxiety feel this desire to control and to control outcomes and control people, but I'm telling you, it never does any good, and you might be convincing yourself that by trying to control situations, it's making you feel better, but in reality, it's just hurting you. And also, never let someone try to control you as well. Like, they're taking away your innate ability to be yourself. Sometimes it's best to just feel your emotions, not to try to control or to change them, but just to sit in them, because sometimes we have these emotions for a reason. Sometimes we aren't supposed to change these emotions. Sometimes we're just supposed to feel depressed so that we understand that this is maybe a feeling that we don't want to be in long term, or we learn something in being depressed. Comfortability is poison for growth. It's poison. Don't let yourself get too comfortable. If you are too comfortable, then that means that you are not living a life where you are having experiences and pushing yourself to be greater or do better or do bigger things. Do not get too comfortable. Comfortability is poison for growth. Don't try to make life-changing decisions when you're emotional. I know a lot of the time we get upset or we get angry or we get mad and we just want to, like, in a spur of the moment, make a decision, but in reality, these decisions are usually not planned out. They're not thought out. And maybe if they are thought out and they are planned out, a lot of the times, if we are emotional or we are upset, we don't execute it the way that we want to. So it's best when you feel big emotions to just pause and revisit this big decision that you want to make later when you're not feeling a big emotion. And to go with that too, it is very important to be able to recognize what big emotions are and when you feel like you have a big emotion, because like I said, big emotions really can control your outlook on life and they can change it, and a lot of the times it's not really positive. So being able to recognize your big emotions is very, very important. Your big emotions like anxiety or anger or distress or depression, those are big emotions that could negatively impact your life if you let it. Tact is very important. Timing and place is very important. Get comfortable, get familiar with the fact that you cannot talk about everything, every setting, or you should not. You should not talk about, maybe you have to wait sometimes to have that argument or to talk about that thing with your partner when you're mad at them when you're in public because you don't want to cause a scene. Because tact is very important. And also, you don't want to have those, like I said, big emotions in front of other people sometimes. Ask yourself, is this decision worth it? Am I going to regret this decision later? Will this decision lift me up or tear me down in the long span of things? When you are making decisions, always ask yourself these things, because a lot of the times we make decisions very easily. We do things very impulsively and we don't think about the long-term effect that these decisions can have on us. But it is very important to ask yourself these questions. Listen to your instinct. It is there for a reason. Recognize when it is time to leave. I don't just mean a relationship, I mean a situation. Sometimes you are overstaying your welcome and you don't even understand or realize that. But you need to learn how to recognize when you are overstaying your welcome. You need to learn how to recognize when it's time for you to remove yourself from a situation, to leave. Every single decision that you will make in your life is an opportunity for growth. Sometimes you will repeat the same mistake over and over again until you understand the lesson that comes from it. But every mistake that you make has a lesson. This one is very important, and I know you've probably heard it a lot of times, but I cannot stress this one enough. If someone wants to leave your life, you have to let them go. Keeping them there, trying to hold them against their will, it is toxic, it is unhealthy, and in the grand scheme of things, do you really want someone who you have to force into your life? If someone wants to leave, let them go. Let them go. This one is a very hard truth that I know a lot of people are going to get upset about, but it is the truth. I've lived it over and over and over again. It is the truth, and there's nothing that you could say or do that's going to change this one. And I know that you're going to want to argue your way and convince yourself it's not true, but it's the truth. Once a relationship has turned toxic, it is nearly impossible to go back to the way that it was before. And a lot of the times, it was toxic the whole time and you're just not realizing it. No matter how much you plan something, it's not always going to go exactly how you plan it. No matter how much time and effort you put into planning, life happens the way life is going to happen. And sometimes it's not going to happen according to your plan. People only have as much control as you give to them. This one's also very hard for me, and it was very hard for me to wrap my head around and to admit, but it is also a very true thing. If a relationship turns sexual too early, a lot of the time the relationship is going to be built on sex, and that's not to say that they eventually won't love you or be in a relationship with you or whatever the case is, but I'm just saying if sex is introduced too early, sometimes the relationship can be built off of that initial sexual connection. And once that sexual connection kind of fades out, they don't really have any further interest. I'm not saying this happens every time. Familiarize yourself with the saying, I am okay without you. People are never needs. They are never a need. No one is ever a need. People are wants. Recognize that. Remember that. The people you surround yourself with will make or break your character. It will control how you act and you think. So surround yourself with positive people who uplift your life. Do not surround yourself with people who make you feel bad about yourself, because I promise you it will have a lasting impact on how you act. This is another thing that I know people are not going to want to hear, but confidence is mostly self-taught. There is not a magic guide that will tell you how to be confident. You have to teach yourself how to be confident. The way that you perceive things and believe in things is so powerful. If you perceive things as negative, you perceive the world as negative, you're always going to have the outlook that life is negative. But if you perceive things in a way that is positive or in a way that is in abundance, then you will always see life in that way. If we only did things when we felt like it, we would get nowhere in life. Most of the time, you're not going to feel like it, and that's a really hard truth for you to swallow, but it's true. Most of the time, you're not going to feel like it. Sometimes you are. You're going to be like, oh, I'm ready to start the day, but a lot of the times you're not. A lot of the times you would rather sleep in bed and not get up and pursue your life. A lot of the times you would rather just relax. And you know what? That's not speaking to your character. It's just a human way. And you have to understand that if you only did things when you felt like it, you would probably get nowhere in life. Ever, 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 ever love someone more than yourself. This one I really want you to pay attention to because it is so freaking important. Words without actions, they mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing. Words without actions mean absolutely nothing. Someone can tell you a million times that they love you. Someone can tell you a million times that they're going to change. But if they never show you that they love you, they never show you that they're going to change, it really means nothing. It really means nothing. And this one is so powerful to me because a lot of the times when we don't have a lot of self-worth or we don't feel a lot of self-worth in ourselves, we look for people who tell us beautiful things and who speak beautiful things to us. Like, I love you, you're so beautiful, you're kind, you're this, you're that. But a lot of the times they don't have actions to back up those things. But we as people who don't feel a lot of self-worth will believe that. Even if they don't show us that, they'll tell us that and you'll believe it. So that's why it is so important to recognize that words without actions, it literally means nothing. It means nothing. Love is not attachment. Love is two people who have their own lives, who have their own passions in life, who have their own self-worth. Two people who are completely okay with being who they are outside of being in a relationship. It's when two people like that come together and they create a bond that is beautiful and magnetic, and they never lose themselves because they know who they are outside of the relationship. Love is not an attachment. Love is mutual respect, care, strength. It is being who you are, but also having the ability to give to another person, but never taking away from ourselves. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. Do not ever be the kind of person to talk about someone behind their back or to be rude to other people. Would you like if someone did that to you? Like, genuinely, honestly, think about it. Think about it deeply. If someone called you a name, someone called you ugly, and they meant it down to their core, someone called you a loser, someone called you stupid, how would you feel? You would probably not feel nice. And take the pride away. Take the pride away. It's just me and you here. You don't have to pretend. If someone called you a name or did something hurtful to you, it would make you feel bad. So why would you ever want to do that to another person? And last but not least, your new life will cost you your old life. Every single habit that you've formed in your old life, every single connection that you've made in your old life, every single thing that you did in your old life will probably have to be put through trial, where you think about, is this really what I want to take into who I want to become? Is this a habit that I want to take into who I want to become? Is this a person I want to take into who I want to become? And a lot of the things that you've created in a life where, a lack life, I would say, a lot of the times the things that you've created in a lack life are not gonna carry with you into this abundance life. I speak from experience. A lot of the things that I did and I said, a lot of the people I hung around, most of the people that I hung around, I did not take into my new life. And you probably won't either. So understand that. Your new life, the life that you've always wanted for yourself, without the barriers or the walls or the expectations, it's probably going to cost you your old life. And you need to be okay with that. Okay, thank you for listening.